You've been lied to, not once, not by accident, but repeatedly, by teachers, textbooks, maybe even your grandma. So today we're digging into the most persistent, most confidently repeated wrong facts that somehow still exist. So grab a glass of water, or 8 if you still believe that myth, and get comfortable because this might be important. Number 11, you need to drink 8 glasses of water a day. There's no scientific basis for this advice, at least not the way you've heard it. It actually started with a real recommendation back in 1945 when the U.S. Food and Nutrition Board said a suitable allowance of water for adults is 2.5 liters daily. But right after that, they added, most of this quantity is contained in prepared foods. So the myth was born, a government guideline was stripped of context, turned into a round number, and now we're out here pretending that 8 cups of only water is mandatory for survival. In reality, your hydration needs depend on a lot of things like your activity level, your diet, your body size, and whether or not you're sweating through your socks in a hot and humid environment. And yes, food counts. Most people get a good chunk of their water from food. Soup, fruits, vegetables, even sad cafeteria lasagna all help fulfill your H2O needs. So if you've been forcing down glass number 7 while hating your life, good news, you can stop. Unless you're watching this while chewing on sand, then please hydrate. So no, you don't need to carry around a gallon jug unless it makes you feel powerful. Just drink water when you're thirsty. It's that easy. Number 10, the forbidden fruit was an apple. You probably think the forbidden fruit in the Bible was an apple. It wasn't. Or at least the type of fruit was never specified. The original Hebrew just says fruit. That's it. No mention of apples, be it Granny Smith's or the deceptively named Red Delicious. So where did the apple idea come from? Blame medieval art. And maybe a bad Latin pun. In Latin, the word for evil is malum. The word for apple? Also malum. Somewhere along the way, artists started painting apples into the scene, and it slowly became canon, even though the fruit could have been a fig, or a pomegranate, or something deeply cursed like durian. But apple? That was just a medieval dad joke that somehow rewrote theology. Number 9, cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. That satisfying pop you hear isn't your joint self-destructing. It's just gas bubbles collapsing in the fluid around your knuckles. It doesn't damage the joint. It doesn't increase your risk of arthritis. Multiple studies have confirmed this. The myth likely came from the fact that people with arthritis also have stiff, noisy joints. So someone went, ah yes, sound equals problem. Sounds logical, but there's no connection. One doctor even cracked the knuckles on only one hand for over 60 years just to prove it. Guess what? No arthritis. And he won an Ig Nobel Prize for his quirky contribution to science. Number 8, chameleons change color to blend in. Most chameleons change color to regulate temperature or to communicate, not to blend in with the environment. Need to warm up? Go darker. Trying to impress a mate or intimidate another chameleon? Crank up the neon drama. Their camouflage is mostly just a bonus, like, oh hey, I accidentally blend in with this bush while yelling with my skin. So the next time someone says chameleons are nature's stealth masters, remember they're more of a mood ring than a special ops lizard. Number 7, bulls hate the color red. Bulls are actually colorblind to red. They can't even see it. What they can see is movement, fast, jerky, irritating movement. So when a matador waves a red cape, the bull isn't thinking, how dare you expose me to red? He's thinking, hey, stop wiggling that thing in my face. The red color is purely for dramatic effect. It hides blood, it looks intense, and it makes the audience feel like something important is happening, even though the bull couldn't care less about the color. You could wave a blue towel, a yellow poncho, or something truly repulsive like a Colorado Rockies jersey, and it wouldn't really matter, because it's not about color. It's about being stabbed repeatedly and then taunted with fabric, which would probably make you angry too. So no, bulls aren't triggered by red. They just don't like being tortured by a goofy dressed Spaniard to entertain the masses. Number 6, toads give you warts. You cannot get warts from touching a toad. Yes, toads have bumpy, lumpy, weirdly moist skin, but those aren't warts. They're glands, specifically parotoid glands, which can secrete mild toxins to keep predators from turning them into sad little snacks. Warts, on the other hand, are caused by a virus, the human papillomavirus or HPV. And unless your local toad is running around coughing on people and licking door handles, it's not the problem. This myth probably started because toads look like they have warts, and kids who liked catching frogs were also more likely to have real ones. So parents made the connection. But the truth is, warts come from humans, not amphibians. So feel free to gently pick up that toad and give it a nice little pet. But don't lick it, no matter what your weird cousin told you. Number 5, you swallow 8 spiders a year in your sleep. This myth has more layers than a funnel web nest, but let's just start with spiders. Spiders hate vibrations more than you hate all your ex's Instagram posts. And when you sleep, you are vibration central. You breathe, you snore, you shift, you flop around like a fish with commitment issues. To a spider, that's basically a haunted earthquake made of meat. They're not drawn to you. They're avoiding you as much as the Colorado Rockies avoid winning. And your mouth? That's the worst part. It's wet. It's loud. It blows out carbon dioxide. It smells like whatever weird snack you had at 11:45 p.m. To a spider, your face is a siren blaring danger, slippery tunnel of death. So how did this myth spread? This is where things get weird. For years, Snopes claimed it came from a 1993 article by someone named Lisa Burgett-Holst, who supposedly made it up to show how gullible the internet is. Readers applauded Lisa's cleverness, but that turns out to be fake too, as Snopes was playing an elaborate prank. If anyone took the time to actually check the sources provided by Snopes, they would have quickly found out that the myth origins were all made up. But no one took the time to do this, assumed all the citations were legit, and the myth behind the myth persisted for nearly 2 decades. The code was eventually cracked when forums discovered that Lisa Burgett-Holst is an anagram for "this is a big troll." So, to recap, you're not swallowing spiders in your sleep. You're swallowing lies, some of which were generated by fact-checking organizations. It just goes to show that Abraham Lincoln was right all along. You really can't believe everything you see on the internet. Number 4. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. This myth has been repeated in textbooks, trivia books, and even by teachers who should have known better. The Great Wall of China is massive. It's long, it's legendary, but it's not really visible from space. It's surprisingly narrow, about the width of 2 parked cars, built from materials that blend into the landscape, and only visible from low Earth orbit under the absolute perfect lighting and weather conditions. Which is to say, you'd have better luck spotting a garden hose from an airplane. In fact, you can see cities, highways, even airport runways more easily from space than the Great Wall, because they contrast sharply with their surroundings. The myth likely dates back centuries long before space travel, and was a poetic way to emphasize how impressive the wall was. Which, fair. It's over 13,000 miles long and was built by hand over centuries. But being long doesn't make something visible from orbit. If it did, Florida's I-95 would be in every NASA slideshow. So no, the Great Wall isn't some ancient line you can see from space with your eyeballs. It's not a glowing scar across the Earth. It's a stone wall surrounded by dirt, seen mostly by tourists in Google Earth. Still impressive, just not astronaut impressive. Number 3, Einstein failed math. Albert Einstein was many things. Scruffy, absent-minded, frequently cheated on his wife. But bad at math? Not even close. The myth that he failed math in school has been repeated for decades, usually to inspire kids who are struggling, which is sweet, but completely false. Einstein dominated math his entire life. By the time he was 12, he was teaching himself algebra, geometry, and calculus, far outpacing his peers. By 15, he was acing subjects most adults still have nightmares about. So where did this myth come from? Likely a translation issue. Einstein took an entrance exam for a Swiss school at age 16, and while he did poorly in subjects like language and history, he crushed the math and science sections. But someone, somewhere, misread his report card, and the Einstein failed math myth was born. The rumor even reached Einstein during his lifetime. When a journalist asked him about it, he set the record straight. But for whatever reason, the myth persists. So no, Einstein didn't fail math, but it does prove that if you say stupid things with confidence, millions of people will believe you. Number 2, sugar makes kids hyper. There is no solid scientific evidence that sugar causes hyperactivity in children. None. Multiple double-blind studies have tested it and consistently found that sugar has no measurable effect on kids' behavior, attention, or energy levels. So why do so many people believe it? Because the myth has everything going for it. It sounds logical. It involves kids acting like caffeinated raccoons, and it gives parents something to blame besides kids just being kids. Also, there's a massive expectation bias at play. In one study, researchers gave 2 groups of kids identical drinks, but told one group of parents their kids had sugar. Those parents reported their kids were hyper, difficult, and more energetic, even though the drink was sugar-free. And here's the crazy part. The parents who thought their kids had sugar changed their own behavior. They hovered, they got more controlling, they became more critical, and that, not the sugar, is what actually made their kids act out. So if anything, giving sugar to kids affects the parents more than the kids. Now, this doesn't mean sugar is harmless. Too much can mess with metabolism, dental health, and cause increased risk of diabetes. But turning your child into a pinball machine, that part's in your head. unless your sugar paranoia freaks your kid out. So no, sugar doesn't make kids hyper. Number 1. Humans have 5 senses: touch, taste, sight, smell, hearing. Those are the big 5. And if you went to school, you probably memorized them sometime between the alphabet and basic addition. But here's the thing, we have way more than 5. Depending on how you count, humans have anywhere from 9 to over 30 distinct senses. Some of the extras include proprioception, your sense of body position. It's how you can touch your nose with your eyes closed. Equilibrioception, your sense of balance, otherwise known as the reason you're not falling down right now. Thermoception, your sense of hot and cold, critical for identifying pizza rolls that are somehow frozen and molten lava at the same time. Nociception, your sense of pain, not fun, but very useful, and quite familiar to fans of the Colorado Rockies. And that's just the beginning. There are also senses of hunger, thirst, time, and a whole suite of internal chemical sensors quietly keeping you alive. So where did the 5 senses idea come from? Aristotle, the same guy who thought flies grew out of dead meat, and that spontaneous generation was real. The 5 senses idea made sense at the time, but our understanding of the human body has come a long way in the last 2,000 years. The 5 senses myth stuck around for centuries because it's simple, easy to teach, and fits neatly on a poster. But it's also wrong, or at best, incomplete. So no, humans don't just have 5 senses. We're more like a biological Swiss Army knife, just with fewer toothpicks. That's all for today. But if you learned something, go ahead and like the video. And if you're still hungry for questionable knowledge, check out this recommended video. The algorithm thinks you'll like it. 'Cause who knows, this might be important.